Hello and welcome to the 9th episode of the Artist Podcast. We've got a bit of a special one for you today as we finally got to record an episode in person. There's some technical issues here and there, but overall it allowed us to create a much more smooth and well-run episode. We have with us today multidisciplinary artist and artistic director of the auxiliary project space, Liam Slevin, who was kind enough to let us record within his studios. I'm your host Tom Stein, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Charlie Wood, so please enjoy. Real life interview. This is how
I was going to say you're going to do a 3, 2, 1 or something.
No, just go. So this is a bit different for us.
Okay.
I don't know if you've had many experiences of being interviewed or appearing on any sort of podcast shows before in the past.
No podcasts and very few interviews even actually.
Really, there's not much media about Liam Slevin.
There's not, no. Yeah. So this is good, and it's nice being in the real world as well.
It is. It's something we missed. It was good doing the interviews over lockdown with people because it was obviously very accessible and we could do it whenever they needed to. But it is much more welcome to be in real life and talking to people.
I think at the start of lockdown, people were a lot more excited to do like video calls, but then as it sort of got on, people just couldn't be bothered anymore.
We've had some physical meetings with people in the room on laptop screens. There's some
disconnect.
It's not Chris Morris or one of these like satirical sort of programs, and it's people arriving in meetings with like a mask, but it's just like a face on it or whatever.
Right.
And sort of like we're in that sort of like weird dystopian future.
Yeah, it is very strange because obviously if it like a lockdown or something, a pandemic happened in the past, we wouldn't have had the technologies that kept everyone in touch that we have like today.
Yeah.
So it's obviously the situation. This pandemic would have been much worse if we didn't have.
It would have been more boring.
It would have been a lot more boring. Yeah.
There's a couple of images going around of the Spanish flu, like of people at like football matches and stuff, all wearing the masks as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's really strange because like they had similar approach to it with the masks.
Yeah.
But obviously, there are all these images from whatever 1918 or whenever the Spanish flu was.
And they all had the masks.
Yeah, all the masks is like quite strange.
Yeah, well, people.
But we're not doing masks now, though.
No.
We've gone back.
We're socially distanced. I guess we better get into some of what we're here to talk about. So, you're originally from Ireland. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. Did you study over there originally?
I did. I studied at the Limerick School of Art and Design. Finished in 2007. Really good school. Went in to do sort of like traditional sculpting. But the year before, I didn't realise that they'd lost a lot of their insurances, so you couldn't use any tools. So like metalworking and woodworking tools were all like sort of banned basically, and they had changed the course into more digital art, so video and sound. So even though I went in with this type of really sort of like that was like the head I had on me at the time, and obviously like conceptual art and art school and video and sound and all of that sort of just started coming into it, like got into it that way. But Limerick was really good. Finished in 2007, and then the global crash was sort of just happening around that 2007, 2008. So that was a really good time to come out of art school basically because space was available, like there was loads of studio groups happening, and like recession. It's not good, but it can be good for the artists. Strange. A lot of friends had gone like architects and engineers and really panicking, like, oh, there's no work. So coming out of art school, like, I got this.
That's great. And then, did you move from there to a different country? Or?
Yeah. So that was Limerick. I moved back to Cork and ran projects there for about 2 years, and then left and moved to Berlin and was there for just shy of 5 years.
All right. Do you reckon Berlin was the most influential place on your work that you make today, or do you believe it came from the roots when you were working in Ireland?
It's funny. When I was making work in Berlin, it was like a lot to do with Ireland.
Right.
And then towards the end of my time in Berlin, like that sort of had filtered in
to
the work. And then the show I did a show last April in Pineapple Black, and to me that was all Berlin.
That was all.
Do you know
Berlin.
what I mean?
So
now it's like sort of
moving from one to the other.
And now I'm in Teesside. Like I'm due a Teesside sort of thing.
Where are you moving afterwards?
I think it's like 5 years later, I'm like, oh yeah. So, yeah, interesting. Like the music though is maybe in Berlin, like
it's very heavily musical places.
Yeah, like we were was part of a collective in Ireland, and we were running like it's like free raves and parties a bit, but then when we went to Berlin, it was just everywhere.
Everywhere,
you weren't just a person running the night once a month. It was like every night.
It's probably one of the biggest places for it, isn't it? Yeah, Berlin. That's really good.
Yeah.
How does it compare to Middlesbrough? Berlin.
It's exactly the same.
Just a big Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I think so.
It's funny, like, cause we've done a bit of work in Detroit as well, and it was like connections between Detroit and Middlesbrough, like post-industrial towns, regeneration through like arts and music. Like Detroit techno and Motown. Big sort of culture scene as well. And I suppose there was similarities between those places and Middlesbrough as well. Like it's sort of shit to say like those similarities are like bombed out buildings and sort of like and that's.
But it's there's obviously truth to it.
And then like places like Seal Sands have been sort of mental as well. Like when we bring artists there from Detroit and Berlin, and you bring them to Seal Sands, they're just like, this is amazing.
This is
really, it's like
it's not something I'd ever pay any attention to or even notice.
Like,
other than the fact that there's seals there.
It's probably when we came, we did a small bit of a recce in September 2015, and a friend drove us around, and when we went to sort of South Bank and that the Dorman Coke Tower. We saw that. I was like, I want to do a gig in there. That was actually like that was a plan. Like it's obviously never happened, but
it could have been a good idea.
Yeah,
I guess you have to utilise your surroundings. Do you want to talk a bit about your current practice and the work you're making at the moment, or is it? Are you mainly involved in the running of this beautiful gallery that we're in, the auxiliary?
Yeah, so I normally sort of swap either between curatorial practice or just like making sort of sound-based sculptures. Because of lockdown and like not really having access to studio space and like sort of thinking about a second wave, semi-wanting a second wave, so we could go back into lockdown. I basically have been spending a lot of money on a load of new synths and have a serious all banging techno. So that's what
easy.
So that's what I've been doing actually. So I'm putting it together. Just straight like techno.
Just straight techno,
which is really nice because it's like a lot of the work with the auxiliary into programming, and like there's lots of like grant writing and putting the stuff in place. It was like go into a studio and press play on a loop and it's like, this is really good instantly. Really good. Like it's.
I guess there's a big difference between the formality of running a gallery compared to the freeness you get making techno music just for yourself, basically.
Exactly, and it's been really nice. And like definitely, so at the moment I'm sort of living in Ireland like more than I'm living here. So I'm back due to COVID and like a family situation. We've moved back to Ireland to look after some family members. So I'm only back in Teesside like. Well, for lockdown I wasn't. I know since it's halfway sort of place. I'm like here a week a month, so I don't have access to a proper studio. I was like so that's the idea as well. Being back in Ireland, making a smaller sort of like audio-based studio.
Right. That.
But the hope is to like release something maybe at the start of next year.
Okay.
Just like start putting
like
together
a project, an EP or something.
Just release that small album or a label that nobody ever listens to. Sounds perfect. Then like curatorial, sort of more of the same really. Like working on the auxiliary, sort of building up the idea of a community here. Like
we've been walking around and it's there's people in. I think it's we came at 10:30 on a Thursday morning.
It's more popular than the Teesside Fine Art course.
Oh, definitely.
It's funny like we've had studios here now for a year and they've been quiet. People not really in. There wasn't so many. There was 4 studios sort of, and we've obviously always been focusing on the bar, which is downstairs, and performances or the exhibition space, and not really paying much attention to our studio holders. And lockdown obviously came around. We couldn't do any public facing stuff, so let's focus on our studio holders, see what they need, start talking to them a bit more, and then that was the idea, to sort of develop more spaces. So we went from sort of 4 or 5 studios to 15 studios. So we really like increased our capacity, and it's just been really good. Like really good people coming from like just fresh. Actually, still in. Some of them are still studying. We have some, I think, on BAs and one doing an MA, and then we've got like artists like 50, 60. Sort of like one artist has just moved back from Australia. He's a ceramicist.
All right.
So quite a broad sort of spectrum of people as well at different places in their career, which is just nice, and a real buzz, which is like coming into the building at 9 o'clock and having somebody in before you it's a nice feeling.
I bet
it's slightly competitive.
It's like the best part of being on like an art course as well, isn't it?
Just interacting with
going into a studio and having loads of people to talk to. So if you have your own studio and loads of people to talk to every day, I guess it's really encouraging. And you've got Gordon Dalton downstairs putting up a show, haven't you?
Yeah, so Gordon is his solo show, which was earmarked for April, and obviously like lockdown and whatever, so we've now, so it's good that it's happening, and like it's looking really good. Like we have some, like we have a reviewer coming from Corridor 8 now during the week, so that'll be good to get some review of it. And you know, like Gordon, he's been sort of here the last couple of years, did sort of a lot of work with Creative Factory, supported everybody.
Yeah, we had him on, and he was he's a really good conversationalist as well, and he's got some good stories.
Yeah,
it's a shame about Creative Factory.
Yeah, but like it's you know onto new stuff. Gordon like has gone like what was it, 40 days and 40 nights in the studio.
Has he
really? He's been like on Instagram. He's the hashtag, and he's like
did
basically 40 days like mad.
That's some dedication.
Yeah. But you can see it in the work and the show downstairs. It's it's really good.
I was going to say there's quite a lot. I didn't expect them to be the 2 full rooms. I thought it was going to be like maybe the little room.
To be honest, I'd say
he's got more.
Could have got more. Yeah,
like definitely. And that's sort of coming. So all of the programming that's happening now is like stuff that like the auxiliary had planned like last year or whatever. And we're moving away from that. The idea is that we're going to sort of give sort of the programming, the exhibition and public programming over to the studio holders. So the auxiliary is going to look for funding, put in like resources like printing materials, PR, there'll be some technicians, but the artist fees and sort of curatorial side of things will be taken on by the studio holders. So that's sort of happening slowly but surely. It just means like saying about the buzz that's in the building, but also they'll have like a say on what's going on to the walls as well. It's about ownership, isn't it? That's like they own the studios, they have their space, and now it's like time to like have some possibility in it to put some work on the walls.
That's good.
Just because everyone, it's like it's been the Liam show for a year now, and it's like time for something a bit just to sort of like have a bit of different flavour and see what comes out of it.
Are you hoping to pick up the same sort of like buzz and then bring it over to Ireland, or are you planning on just going back and forward for the foreseeable?
No, don't know. There's we're living in a place called Carlow, which is another post-industrial town. It's very small. It's like it's a town, but it's sort of would be almost like a village in English sort of. There's a really big institution there called Visual, which is a beautiful gallery. It's amazing. There's an arts festival there that's been running 40 years. It's very similar actually. They don't have any art school there. But there's definitely links that could be made between the two. But I have no intention of moving. They're definitely here with the auxiliary and obviously the Middlesbrough weekender as well.
It's a lot of run.
Like it works really well here. Like we've got like a really good community growing, and like there's a bit of a buzz around the projects and stuff. And
definitely is on the up the scene.
And the whole scene or ecology or whatever, but like in Middlesbrough is just it's really healthy. And like it's healthy in the sense that there's things happening, but it's also supportive. Like there's loads of like sort of like financial support you can get, and like things like that. The council are quite good, and like Creative Factory when it was running for the 3 years, like really solid. So no, it's definitely the right place to be.
Big fishbowl, there's a lot of space for people to grow. I hope that it continues to be invested in thoroughly. Do you want to talk a bit about the Middlesbrough Art Weekend? That's obviously one of the biggest projects. I say it's the most. It is my favourite project in Middlesbrough that I've seen since starting. art. So it is a massive festival. Does it go over 2 or 3 days? I can't.
It's like 3 days and then an opening night.
And an opening night, yeah.
So, and obviously it's been disappointing not having it this year. We had put the program together, but it now means that we have like over 12 months to plan for next year's festival.
Even bigger,
two for the price of one. Just like, and it's been really nice now that starting out with a small team and sort of like putting the whole festival together to now being in a place where people are coming to you with program. Oh, I got this idea, so that's really good as well. That people are sort of again feeling like they can take part in it, and it is like town wide. Like it's basically
need a map.
It's an open book as far as like if you have a project on, like we'll put it into the program. It's like so it's really good, and there's like real ambition with it as well. Like the Karina Babinski-Smigler's Ada piece that came last year, the drawing ball in the town hall.
That was people were very impressed by that. It got its buzz on the social media. It was shared to death.
And it was like say a calculated risk for us because that's a global institutional sort of touring piece that goes into places with massive resources. And for that to come to an artist-led festival in Middlesbrough was like it was like
crazy, isn't it?
And like but the artist she said it was one of the best openings she's ever had. Just because she said normally she gives a talk and then people come in and they tap the ball a bit and then they leave. She said that happened, but then I think it was Karen who came in. Somebody like grabbed it and like threw it across the room, and then like people started engaging with it properly.
And the way she wanted it.
Like exactly the way it's supposed to. That it's not like
people get timid about art.
Exactly.
But around here, something like that, people are just going to like lap up straight away and get really invested into.
So then I think it was. Can't remember now. It was the shortest run it's ever had, and I think it was the quickest it's ever gone up. So it was like things to be really proud of it. Like it was tough going with the team, and whatever. Like under lots of pressure, but at the end of the day, it's like an amazing piece. It is an amazing piece, and to be able to sort of have it in Middlesbrough as well. And
it's kind of crazy that the council that involved the project as well, that they'd give you the space in the town hall to put it on with. That's,
absolutely. Like, and that's like the head of culture at town at Middlesbrough Council, Charlotte. Like she's been amazing. She's been like sort of in the background, I suppose, in some respects, as far as the public are concerned. But she's been a massive driving force for us as an organisation. Like she brings in Arts Council and gives tours, like to all of the spaces as well. So everybody gets like the benefit of it, and like earmarking funding and sort of highlighting funding that we can go for, and all of this. It's been I've never had that. Didn't have it in Ireland, didn't have it in Berlin. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what's sort of special as well about Middlesbrough. You have this top down and the ground up are sort of working together almost, sort of, most of the time.
There's a keenness by the council around here to improve the area, and it obviously we can achieve that through funding arts, which is obviously very important.
And it's just some problems. You know, like you have like art washing and gentrification, and like there's some problems that are definitely going to come from that. And sometimes it's like just paint a pretty picture and everything will be fine. It's like it needs to be more thought out. But it's the support is there, and it's like it's really good. And then so next year, I don't know. Like obviously COVID's with us, so we're trying to think of like just where we are now, the car park across the road.
Right. The Zetland car park.
No, just ground.
Oh, just trying to get that.
We could rebuild the auxiliary outside.
Right. Just
outside. Have the second version in the car park. Cool. So people could still like auxiliary all of the work would obviously need to be waterproof or something. Like that's fine.
It'd be good for music, obviously outside. That's like a perfect sort of situation, especially if it's in the summer. People are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and we finally like historically we've moved the date of the weekender quite a bit. But like we now. It's the last weekend in September. That's what it is. We have it.
Do it every year,
and it ties in with the last Orange Pip of the season, and it's also Middlesbrough Pride. So that Saturday is like always buzzing. So it's a really good time to have it, and like, again joining in with Pride and Pip as well, just as you sort of like crossover programming, just makes sense.
It does,
That'll be a good weekend.
That's going to be it's going to be a very fun time. I imagine I'll have a couple of beers on that weekend.
There's a French artist, Buffalino. Just can't remember his first name now. He was coming in for supposedly this year's piece, but he has a project that's a cement truck. But he's turned the outside of it into a disco ball.
Right, okay.
And then he blasts lights at it.
Yeah.
So it's basically like a cement truck turning as a giant disco ball.
But the
idea was to drive it down past Tiny on the Saturday night and just have like pumping tunes.
Oh, people would love that.
Yeah, you know, and just like, and that's like what Weekender's good about. You know, you can have work that's like sort of high concept, like really good, like, you know, and then you can have a giant disco ball like driving up and down the street.
It is just like a music festival, but it's free and it's for artists, and we all have a good time.
And we all have a good time.
I see some good work.
Did you see the Michaela Caracas exhibition that was on before lockdown?
I didn't know.
He's one of the new professors that they took on with Sarah Perks, I think was. Yeah, Sarah Perks and Michaela. Man, it is the best show that is, for me anyway, like it's like hands down the best show that I've seen in the area.
Was it like the mock garden thing they had on the bottom floor?
No, that was something else. We basically walked into the first room and it was like big projection of ex-pit miners humming and droning, and then the back, that tall back wall walking, that was all sort of like soundproof from foam.
Right,
so it had like just like beautiful sort of aesthetic, and then the drone was just like really guttural or something. And then he sort of, his practice is like going into sort of communities that are on sort of like the edge of like society or economic or whatever, and just working with them and building really nice sort of video works that sound is a massive element of it as well. Like really good, and like really good now that he's part of the Meme School of Art. That's like one of the new.
We didn't know that there was a timer on the on GarageBand basically, so we're gonna have to just resume the conversation from where we were.
What were you talking about, Mima?
We were talking about Mima, the mining exhibition.
Yeah, well, the Michaela Caracas exhibition.
Sorry.
Just like really good. I think it's. Yeah, I'm trying to think what we were talking about.
Was it one of the first like sound-based shows at Mima? Because I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Yeah, from like I think for me and for being here, whatever, I'm here 4 years, whatever, that it was like with such a strong focus on it. And then they had a study day as well, and they brought in a couple of other performers to sort of react to the exhibition as well.
Right.
Does Mima still have a hand in the weekend, or is it?
They're all as like we've multiple partners that we'd always sort of like partner with. So Mima, like we were looking this year. We've always done like a graduate award or sort of like an informal graduate that we've like in 2019 we had some Newcastle University based artists. For this year we were really trying to formalise that a bit more. So we'd gone to the 5 universities in the northeast. So Northern School of Art, Music School of Art and Design, Northumbria, Sunderland University and Newcastle University. So the idea was that we were going to take maybe 2 artists from each BA show and just put them together. Always like with my personal sort of hope is then just like some collective or some type of like further like legacy would come from it. Like a northeast based like new graduate collective. So again, looking at next year, we'll probably be doing something similar, like reaching out to the different universities and seeing what they're sort of interested in doing. But like for in 2019 we had 2 graduates in the same show as like Doherty's work. So you've like Turner Prize nominees next to people that have just graduated. You know, so I think that's like a good mix and like sort of ethos of the festival where it's like trying to be like more democratic and sort of non-hierarchical where the work goes.
Keep everything flat type thing. No one's above anyone else.
Which is obviously important. It is. Do you have an open discussion with the Mima School of Art or with the auxiliary, or is there any sort of back and forth between you, or is it?
We're like so Middlesbrough has a cultural partnership which we were a member of. Like most of the cultural organisations and like arts organisations are part of it, and through that we have like a number of like discussions with MEMA, but it's mainly MEMA actually, not really the school.
Yeah, so it's more with MEMA than the actual university.
And we have some of the exhibitions. We have students come in for like a walk around, this type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we actually starting to think around about doing our own sort of unaccredited MA at the auxiliary.
All right. School of a Dam style.
Yeah, just like cool. Just because we have basically artist here who is doing their MA not at Teesside University, but they don't have studio and they don't have any lecturing because of COVID, and they're paying I think 9,000 a year.
Yeah, for video lectures. It seems very
there's no
video lectures,
no
nothing.
lectures.
For an MA, where is that? You don't want to disclose.
But so that's what I said. It's not Teesside University or the Northern School of Art. It's not local. So it was more that got me thinking, like, and it would be obviously like it wouldn't be the auxiliary. It would be a studio-led thing.
Yeah.
Just as an idea, because the School of the Damned is a really interesting model, and like I know a few people have started looked at this different.
I was looking at it to apply next year, and I've got an MA. But I'm just to get an MFA.
I'm not educated on this subject.
It's like a student-run master's program, essentially.
Basically, like sort of peer-led,
pass or fail type of thing.
Yeah, they are. And then it's like the current class are the people that decide on next year's class. So it's like
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so self-generating sort of. There was a couple of friends back in Ireland. There's no location for the School of the Damned, but it is located in London.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't have to be in London. But there was sort of like an idea for a load of Irish people to apply and to move to Ireland. None of us got it.
No.
So
it's a really on it.
So
Courtney?
Faye Hadfield. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's Faye on it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, doing a pot thing.
Yeah.
So do you do it when you're also at university, or do you do it after you've?
No, it's an MFM.
What's it? So
Master of Fine Art.
Oh, is it a Master of Fine Art? Yeah.
But just not accredited from any university. But to be honest, it's like
people would take it as like
an actual
like if you have an MA, the only place you'll probably ever use it is applying for a PhD.
Yeah, literally.
Like that's sort of like.
I know. Yeah, it's not helping me in my job hunt at all. Having a master's, it's not.
It is the purpose of a master's is to do a PhD.
My purpose of doing a master's was so I didn't have to leave education and
fair enough.
go into the professional world, and now I'm here.
Yeah,
but obviously it didn't work for me because I had to get my master's and then COVID happened, so I haven't had the same sort of job market.
To be fair,
normally
the jobs that you're looking for in Middlesbrough, I can imagine are hard to come by.
I need to relocate.
Well, not necessarily have to relocate, but.
Plus now with like this whole digital way of working, that people are way more open to employing people that aren't actually located in their town or city.
Area.
It's like saying that we sort of moved back to Ireland at the start of lockdown, and we've sort of done more work with the auxiliary than we have normally. Normally, it's all digital.
Yeah, it's all digital.
Like most people I don't even realise that we moved back.
I didn't believe
that house looks like because it's in Ireland. So I think it's been really interesting, and then like going forward, it's like we realised that we were spending so much time just travelling to meetings, not like heaps of time, but enough time that you sort of notice it.
Takes a dent in the day.
It does, and it's like you could sort of, you might have 2 meetings in Middlesbrough, that's like a whole day to get, And now it's like you go from 2 to 3 to 4, and like meetings are back to back, and it's like I think work is moving quicker in some respects. Because you're not waiting around for people to get back to you, because everything is sort of
everything's more effort in real life than it is on a laptop. You can get a lot more done very quickly. It's all that interesting. I hadn't heard of that School of the Damned before, so
it's quite cool. Maybe you should look in now.
I'll have to do some reading.
Go down to London or something.
Go down to London,
it's
it'd be cool if you start something up here like that.
I don't know, like it's something like very early days.
But
it was more when
I give an idea.
The artist was sort of about the cost of it really for doing like an MA for people, and then not actually getting much out of it. It just seems like really poor.
A poor business strategy, but maybe a good conceptual strategy.
But moving like sort of with the way the auxiliary is going and putting sort of giving more responsibility and ownership for the studio holders to take sort of control of the space. Like it would be ultimately up to them, I suppose, if they wanted to go and do a sort of an unaccredited MA.
That'd be cool.
I'd say it's very, very interesting. There's obviously a lot going on in the auxiliary. I haven't been checking in as much as I definitely should have been. I'll definitely come to Gordon show when it opens though.
Yeah.
That should be interesting.
Yeah, and then our next show is Friday the 13th of November.
That sounds.
So that's Sophie Lisa Beresford. She's done a bit of work with Workplace in Vain up in Newcastle. Has a pizza shop rave.
Pizza shop rave. You've got me interested.
Well, like her work is like she's really interested in sort of like class herself as a professional Raji. Sort of interested in sort of like council estate, like sort of aesthetic, but also their like appropriation of like icons into like a new ritual sort of like not religion, but so she makes work with sort of like Adidas symbols, Nike symbols, like sort of shows how they're quite similar to like previous pagan symbols and other like
like a cult type thing.
Yeah,
well, Nike's a Greek goddess, isn't she? I believe so.
Just like
war, maybe. No, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's something interesting.
That's good. That's going to be really interesting. And another solo show as well, which are really rounds off a year of like solo shows. Wasn't really.
Do you see the auxiliary progressing to a point where it is just like a studio-based run thing with no one at the helm, or would you still like want to do shows?
No, that's where we're going basically. Because then there was talk about whether we like rebrand the space as well.
An artistic democracy.
So then the auxiliary project space is just another desk within the building. You know, like the way we're looking at trying to put a bit of a framework around how we sort of nominate shows and how it gets sort of voted in. But within that system, like the auxiliary will just have like one vote. So,
but
the only thing that was like we'll have the Middlesbrough Weekender here and we'll have Sonic Arts Week here.
Are you not worried about getting voted out?
No, I've actually just been reading up on Putin.
You need to think. You need to convince them that they have a vote.
Do a mock election.
This is what the result was.
Who are those 10 other student voters that nobody's ever met? No, I think it's like we've been in the space now over a year, like putting on shows, and it's been amazing or whatever. Sort of like running out of ideas as well. And it's good for other people to sort of come in and like have some shows. And like there's loads of other spaces in town as well.
Pineapple Black, great. It's literally there. Like, it's so easy to walk.
You can actually see it out the window here, under the bridge.
Right
there, and then platform. You can actually like lean your head that way. You can see that as
These are really close. I never put that together before. That's really close. I remember coming for the art weekend there, and there was someone's work I wanted to see over in I think it was Upprint or basically like there was print work over there in the Pineapple Black Gallery. I remember just walking over there, looking at it for 10 minutes and coming back, and it wasn't a bother. Everything's really close together.
And do you know the new Northern School of Art and Design is being built just basically over there.
The college?
I heard of it moving, but I didn't know where it was.
Joe Sainsbury's, just behind Sainsbury's. So it's like literally within our triangle. It's just it's now a square or whatever that shape is.
Maybe this is going to turn into a little cultural hub around this little location.
I think so. It's like it's definitely.
Do you get more audience from the Hartlepool Northern School or from TSA?
I don't know. To be honest, we feel very few students in the field.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't know either. You know, it's like
I suppose
it might be a bit different now because we have a number of students or recent graduates from Hartlepool, like in the space.
Yeah.
Like Adam Shaw and Robin. Adam is possibly still studying and Robin is just finished. So
John's in it still, isn't he? He's still not there.
No, he's just finished. Yeah, just did his degree or like final show, and then Lucy finished last year.
We're going to have to open a bar in this location.
We'll open a bar down there.
When all these art students only. Well, no, you just make it
bar downstairs.
But
you undercut him on price.
Do you just want to run that bar?
But all you need to do is serve a pint for £2.30, make it a Taddy's, the Sam Smith pint, and then all the art students will flock with the tote bags. And that'd work. Well, you take more on the mini, don't you? Because that must have got loads of service back in the day from the CCAD opening days afterwards. the Linny was like always overflowing. It was like a massive day.
Yeah.
And if the college is there, they're all just going to end up in Isaac Wilson's.
Yeah. Or do you know Playbrew?
Playbrew, it's so good in there.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's like £5 a pint, but it's mint.
But you know, that's really close to them as well. So there's this being like culture quarter, whatever, you know. But it's like, it's good because it's localized. Not that like Middlesbrough is a massive town anyway, but like it's just nice where you feel like you can go to each space a few times in one night and you're not walking ages or like, you know.
Yeah, like it's a bit of a trek for me at Mima, but still not really. That is really cool.
If you sort of had something between, say, Pineapple and Mima, it would make it closer. That type of thing. Sort of like a stepping stone space.
The factory was there, wasn't it? It kind of. Wasn't it? Was it in the inside of the...
the creative factory space, the Brilliantly Borough.
Oh, yeah, in the mall?
Yeah.
The mall or the mall?
Mall or whatever.
Cleveland Centre?
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, it'd be good now to see what other spaces are coming up as well. I know the Middlesbrough Council are giving over one of the Centre Square spaces. That's going to be like a new gallery space for students, I think. I think that's sort of on the cards. I think it's only a temporary space. So like,
is Middlesbrough Council's plan to turn Middlesbrough into like an arts town?
I think it's happening whether it's their plan or not.
Yeah.
I think it's more the people getting involved with the progression of the art scene than it is the council itself. I don't think any other sort of communities really is invested in. I guess you've got Base Camp doing the music sort of side of things,
doing stuff life and stuff.
But that's probably the only up and coming music sort of like venue, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Because you get like Sticky Fingers, but that's just more of a bar business than an actual sort of like events night or anything like that.
But I think somebody has to start it. And I'd say it won't be long before there's another version of Base Camp.
Yeah,
somebody else does something rival, and I think it's good. I think it's always well, I suppose maybe it's different for like the more galleries, the better it is for us.
Yeah,
I mean that's like it does. But like
I suppose with Base Camp, it's owned by 10 Feet Tall, so they'd see everyone as a rival, wouldn't it? It's more of a business.
They're a business. It's not a heart and soul place like the auxiliary. It's not.
Oh, see, that's great that people believe it. It's a heart.
You actually hate Steve.
This fascist dictator. We'll all get a vote.
We'll have a war and go take over Panama flag.
The vote, yes.
This has been fantastic, Liam. But I think we've got enough for today. I think this has been a really good conversation. We'll have to do more in person. We'll have to figure out the routine a bit better. I don't know if there's any difficulties with the audio. We'll find out.
Maybe we'll find a different program to record it.
Yeah, maybe
the audio after half an hour.
That did happen.
You can buy a better camera. But, I really want a multicam setup.
Okay,
I want to cut
to each other's faces and stuff like that. Yeah, we could.
More professional.
Baby steps.
Baby steps, Charlie.
It has been really good chatting, and it's
been absolutely fantastic. I'll make sure to come to the shows in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely see you. Have you anybody else lined up next, or is that all secret? Who's out?
We're going to go pester some people.
We're going to go pester Steve.
We're going to go pester Steve, see if he wants to do one, like literally now. And then we might give Mickey a bell. Michael Lent.
Very good.
He's a hard guy.
Get in touch with, but he doesn't want to be in touch with. So I guess we'll go do that.
Yeah.